This game of Commander brought to you by Mindslaver, for when you play your opponent's turns better than they do. Welcome to a game of Commander featuring Glissa the Traitor, Karador, Ghost Chieftain, Edric, Spymaster of Trest, and Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. I go first, and this is my opening hand. Rob's opening hand. June's opening hand. And Josh's opening hand. I play Snow Mountain, Rob plays Vivid Marsh, June plays Temple of Silence, scrying 1. Josh plays Forest and casts Shan Odin Dryads. I play Mountain and cast Ruby Medallion. Rob plays Reflecting Pool and casts Mycosynth Wellspring, adding Forest to hand. June plays Vivid Grove. Josh plays Pendlehaven and attacks me with the Dryads, pumping with Pendlehaven, dealing me 2 damage. Josh casts Sylvan Safekeeper. I play Snow Mountain and cast Ravenous Baboons, blowing up Josh's Pendlehaven when it enters. Rob plays Forest and cast Kodama's Reach, putting a Forest into play and a Swamp in hand. June plays Swamp and casts Fauna Shaman. Josh plays Island and attacks Rob for 2 with his creatures. I play Snow Mountain, cast Soul Ring, Mind Stone, and Kiki Jiki. Rob plays Swamp. Josh Worldly Tutors for Gilded Drake. June discards a creature and adds Wood Elves to hand. June plays Vivid Meadow. Josh plays Forest and casts Druid's Repository. Before damage, Rob cycles to create Pain, drawing a card and killing everything on the board. In response, I Keege Baboons and blow up Rob's Reflecting Pool. I play Snow Mountain and cast Spawn of Thraxus, dealing Rob 5 damage. Rob casts Tempt with Discovery, with Josh choosing to give Rob more lands. Rob puts Cabal Coffers and Urborg onto the battlefield and then plays Deserted Temple. Rob then casts Spine of Ishah, blowing up my dragon. June plays Academy Rector. Josh casts Edric and attacks Rob for 1 with his Dryad Arbor, the land he got from Tempt with Discovery. Josh draws a card and plays Seat of the Synod. I cast Oxida Scrap Melter, blowing up Josh's seat, and then cast Clone Shell and exile a card underneath it. During his upkeep, Rob Vampiric Tutors, paying 2 life. Rob plays Bojuka Bog and exiles Josh's graveyard. Rob makes a bunch of mana with Cabal Coffers and untaps it with the Deserted Temple and then taps it again. Rob casts Worst Fears, again targeting me, and then casts Liliana Vess and neg-2s it to find a card and put it on top of his library. June casts Wood Elves, finding a forest and putting it into play. Josh attacks Rob for 3 with both of his creatures, adding counters to his repository and drawing 2 cards. Josh plays Forest. On my next turn, Rob breaks my Mind Stone, draws a card and plays Ancient Tomb, taps it, dealing 2 damage. Rob evokes Ingot Chewer, blowing up my Soul Ring. Rob attacks Josh with Scrap Melter and June with Clone Shell. Josh takes 3 damage and June blocks with the Academy Rector. When the Rector dies, June exiles it and puts Wild Pear onto the battlefield. Rob starts his turn by removing 2 loyalty counters from Liliana and puts another card on top of his library. Rob makes a bunch of mana, casts Glissa, and casts Exsanguinate for 15, dealing everyone else 15 damage and gaining Rob 45 life. June plays Plains and casts Deadbridge Chant, adding team cards to his graveyard when it enters. June casts Anime Dead, returning Nyx Weaver to the battlefield. Josh plays Thran Quarry and then casts Glimpse of Nature. Elvish Mystic draws a card, Triton Shore Stalker draws a card, casts Gilded Drake, draws a card, and takes Glissa, giving Josh his Drake. Josh attacks me for 3 with his 2 creatures and draws 2 cards from Edric. Josh casts Flying Men and draws a card. Josh removes mana from his repository and casts Quarreling Oracle, drawing a card, and then draws Sword of Light and Shadow from the Quarreling Oracle effect. I play Snow Mountain and recast Kiki Jiki. Rob makes 20 mana, cast Mirrorworks, cast Mindslaver, copies with Mirrorworks, and then with the copy trigger on the stack, Rob sacks the original Mindslaver and takes Josh's next turn. Rob attacks June with Gilded Drake, dealing him 3 damage and drawing him a card from the Edric effect. June returns Fauna Shaman to the battlefield with the Chant effect. June plays Marsh Flats and casts Far Wanderings with Threshold, searching his library for 3 basic lands and puts them into play tapped. June sacks Marsh Flats, paying 1 life, and puts Temple Garden onto the battlefield. Rob takes Josh's turn. Rob attacks me with all of Josh's creatures. In response to the Druid's Repository trigger, I attempt to Keege Clone Shell, but Rob Void Slimes the ability. Rob adds 8 counters to the repository. I block Edric with Clone Shell, and Oxida Scrap Melter blocks Dryad Arbor. Edric, Dryad Arbor, Clone Shell die. I take 8 damage, and Rob draws Josh 6 cards. I flip my Wormcoil Engine off of Clone Shell. Rob plays a creature, Sword of Light and Shadow, Simic Charm, Bouncing Glissa drops hand. Rob rapid hybridizations my Wormcoil Engine, killing it and making me 2 worm tokens. Rob casts Mystical Tutor and fails to find. Rob casts Zephyr Sprite and casts Triumph of the Hordes just to get it out of Josh's hand. I play Snowmountain and cast Gauntlet of Might. I attack Rob's Liliana Vest with a lifelink worm token and gain 3 life. I Key Scrap Melter at the end of my turn and blow up Rob's Mindslaver token. Rob casts Mishra's Bauble and copies it with Mirrorworks. Rob casts Glissa. Rob sacks both baubles and takes a look at the top card of June's and my library. At the end of Rob's turn, June exiles his Nyx Weaver to return Rise of the Dark Realms to his hand. Rob draws 2 cards during June's upkeep. June returns Baron Moor to his hand from the Chant effect. June casts Phyrexian Arena and discards a creature to Fauna Shaman to find and cast Massacre Worm. I mistakenly kill Kiki Jiki even though he is a 3/3. Josh loses 14 life. Rob returns artifacts to his hand from Josh's creatures dying. June triggers Wild Pair and puts Angel of Serenity from his library onto the battlefield. Angel exiles 3 cards from June's graveyard. June attacks Josh for 1. Josh plays Tropical Island and casts Elvish Pioneer, putting Island onto the battlefield from Josh's hand. I cast Karn Liberated and exile Glissa. I then Key Scrap Melter, blowing up Mirrorworks, and then attack Rob with the Scrap Melter copy, the Lifelink Worm, and the Frog Lizard. Rob blocks the Worm with Gilded Drake, both of which die. We each lose 2 life from the Massacre Worm effect, and Rob takes 7 damage from unblocked creatures. I gain 3 life from the Lifelink. I lose 2 life at the end of the turn when the token dies. Rob recasts Glissa and then casts and activates Mindslaver targeting June. Rob casts and activates Executioner's Capsule, killing Scrap Melter. I lose 2 life. Rob returns Mindslaver to his hand. June cycles Baron Moor to draw a card. Rob casts Mana Vault and Mishra's Bauble, then sacks it to look at the top card of June's library. Rob draws 2 cards for June, and June loses 1 life from Phyrexian Arena. Deadrich Chant returns Baron Moor to June's hand. Rob casts Runescarred Demon and Wild Pairs it, finding Sun Titan, returning Animate Dead to play, which animates Craterhoof Behemoth. Rob then gets a card from Runescarred Demon. The Craterhoof gives June's guys +7. Rob attacks Craterhoof, Angel of Serenity, and Wood Elves at me and the rest of June's creatures at Josh. I block the Craterhoof with my Death Touch Worm, killing it. Josh and I both die. Rob Restoration Angels Runescarred Demon and finds Agent of Erebos. Rob takes his next turn. Rob plays Phyrexia's Core and Mindslavers June again. Rob recasts Executioner's Capsule. Rob sacks Spine of Ishsaw to Phyrexia's Core, gaining 1 life, and returns the Spine to his hand. Rob recasts the Spine, destroying June's Angel of Serenity and returning Mindslaver to Rob's hand. Rob recasts Mindslaver. With Slaver lock in place, June concedes, winning the game for Glissa.
Oh my god, how much mana do you have? Oh yeah, and this is crap.
4, 5, 6,
Is this all your graveyard?
11, go.
Let me pick a card.
Josh just wants to participate.
Oh.
Sad. 2 times. 2 times.
So bad.